Hey everyone, what's going on? So yesterday we got this story about Meghan Markle revealing that she had a miscarriage in July. And it goes along with the same pattern I have followed with her and Prince Harry over the years. The other big story of the news was that indigenous people want their land back. We also got the story about this Fred whatever, this indigenous NHL player dying from COVID-19. And what are the odds, an indigenous NHL player just so happens to fall over dead the day before Thanksgiving. Think about Thanksgiving, Native Americans, oh, the odds, And then another story. But this Meghan Markle story is important because if you look at all my other blog posts that involve Meghan Markle, a lot of them are connected to Native Americans. For example, back in 2017 when they announced their engagement, it just so happened to be on the same day that Donald Trump called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. The very same day. And, of course, in gematria, Meghan Markle equals 63, Prince Harry equals 63, Native American equals 63, Indigenous equals 63, Pocahontas joke 63, racist comment 63, Navajo 63. I even pointed out if you write out Senator Warren, it equals 63. And, oddly enough, the story yesterday, it just so happened to come on the reflection of this stuff. 36 and 63. It was all about these numbers. Yesterday just so happened to be a span of 72 days after Prince Harry's birthday. Put it on here. It was a span of 72 days after Prince Harry's his 36th birthday, right? He turned 36 years old. And notice in gematria, Prince Harry also equals 72. 72 and 63. Also equals 187, this big Jesuit number. Also 135, like Native American. Or like Society of Jesus. I said Jesuit, but the big Jesuit number. Jesuit equals 84. And Meghan Markle's birthday is 8/4, which is 187 days before the day that Queen Elizabeth became the queen. And Queen Elizabeth became the queen 132 days after the Jesuit anniversary. And Catholic Church equals 132 and a whole lot more. So does England, so does the United States of America, and so on. But, it was 72 days after his 36th birthday. And it was also just so happened to be exactly 36 weeks before Meghan Markle's next birthday. So 36 days, or Prince Harry's age 36, this was 36 weeks before Meghan Markle's birthday. November 25th also just so happens to be the day that leaves 36 days in the year. November 25th leaves 36 days in the year. And the number 36 just sticks out to me in regards to Prince Harry's mother, Princess Diana, who died at the age of 36. And she also died in a car crash in Paris. And if you write out Paris, Paris just so happens to equal 36, 72, and 63. Also 143, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. I never even noticed this until just now, but there's a definite narrative in connection to Chicago and the number 143. Even that indigenous hockey player or whatever, he played for the Blackhawks in Chicago, and Blackhawks equal 143, so does Chicago. Chicago equals 143. Oh, is it Chicago Cubs equal 143? Chicago Bears equal 143? There's a definite connection here, so interesting. I didn't notice that Paris equaled 143, but think about Paris. Paris is where the Jesuits were founded as well, and, modern Scottish Rite Freemasonry is founded in Bordeaux, France, and think about the Illuminati and the connections to the French Revolution, and think about France and a connection to the American Revolution. Well, let's go back and look at another story. So we had the same day that, Donald Trump called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, we got the story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle being engaged. And then the same day that they announced they were expecting their first child, we also got a story about Donald Trump calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas again, right? And it was about Elizabeth Warren's DNA and how she was actually a Native American and whatnot. So, what are the odds we get another story about Elizabeth Warren in regards to Pocahontas and her Native American stuff the same day that Harry and Meghan announced that their first child is going to be born? And also, back in February of 2019, we got a story about the racist stuff again with Meghan Markle and Donald Trump, and the very next day we got a story about the British monarchy being the problem and not Meghan Markle being the problem. And there's a whole lot more that goes along with this. I talked about how it's synced up to the band Fleetwood Mac and Kanye West and Taylor Swift and so on, and that was also synced to Freddy Krueger. That's why earlier this year we had the death of John Saxon, the cop, in the movie, the first Freddy Krueger movie, and then the next day we had the death of one of the Fleetwood Mac players, and that was right on this, like, I think the same day that Taylor Swift released the new album and a bunch more. So, and when, I can't remember if it's the same day or not, but the day that they announced their baby, and the same day that Elizabeth Warren was in the news, I think it was right around the same time, if not the same day, that Kanye West had visited the White House, too. So, I guess I'm just making this video because I don't, maybe somebody else can help me out with this, because there's a definite connection to how Native American / indigenous people are synced up to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. There's an obvious theme going on with it. The only other thing that comes to mind when I think about this and how it's possibly connected to France is the fact that in the Mormon religion, you know, the Native Americans were the Lamanites, right? Or Lamanites, or however you say it. And that's interesting because the Book of Mormon is synced up to Joseph Smith was allowed to take the plates on September 22nd. If I could find it here. Well, whatever, you can look it up for yourself. But Joseph Smith was allowed to take the plates on 9/22, which just so happens to be the anniversary of the French Republic. And that's also the day that Pope Francis arrived in the United States. Pope Francis. And it was in the 239th year of the United States. And Society of Jesus equals 239, which is the 52nd prime number as well. The word Pope equals 52. And, you know, he arrived, 52 days before the Paris attack in 2015, right? And ISIS equals 52, and that attack supposedly by ISIS, right? So, Society of Jesus equals 239, Paris, France equals 239, Illuminati equals a 239. Keep in mind it was in the 239th year of the Illuminati as well. So, and the Book of Mormon's 239 chapters. So, possibly it is something to do with the Book of Mormon and how it syncs up and whatnot, but I'm just not sure. Oh man, look at this. Book of Mormon. Oh geez, I can't type today. Book of Mormon equals 224. This big number that I've been following. So, man. Book of Mormon 224. It's Joseph Smith. It's 52, just like, you know, Pope and so on. 52, 56, like Pope. Also 194. What in the world? I'm sure it's connected to this now. So, I'm going to finish the video. I need to do some more research now, but if you've been following what I talk about, you'd understand that the importance of me seeing this. These are Charles Manson numbers. And it's also important because the word miscarriage equals 194. And November 25th, the day that the story came, was the same day that Henrietta Maria of France, who was married to King Charles, the king during the English Civil War, was who was the king of England during the English Civil War, and he was married to Henrietta Maria of France, Henrietta Maria equals 194. And so does King Charles I equals 194. Miscarriage 194. So it's interesting how it relates to Joseph Smith and the Mormons and Native Americans and so on. I think also too King George III, who was the monarch during the American Revolution, he became the longest reigning English-British monarch on the date of 922, and then he was later surpassed by Queen Elizabeth just before Pope Francis visited the White House on 9/9 of 2015. And them 2 days, 9/9 and 9/22, are the same when you convert, the Gregorian and the Julian calendar as well. They're the same day, so it's an important day. It's also right around the time of the solstice and whatnot, so I'll move on though. So let's look at the death of this hockey player here, this Fred Salsa Camus, if that's how you pronounce it, but his name in gematria is 91, and these Francis Bacon ciphers are just so ridiculously important. I'm telling you, Chicago equals 91, that guy's name equals 91, played for the Chicago Blackhawks, Chicago, Illinois 91, Chicago Cubs 91, just Blackhawks equal 91, and then the Francis Bacon ciphers, it equals 143, just like how Chicago equals 143, Indigenous equals 143 in the Francis Bacon ciphers, Chicago Bears 143, Chicago Cubs 143 in the Francis Bacon ciphers, and I'll come back to this with maybe Chicago Bulls stuff, because they have these numbers synced up to what I was talking about, 224. But, back in October, there was a story, I started noticing this pattern with 143, now it syncs up to the Tiger narrative. And if you go back right around the time Tiger King came out, I was talking about how there was a major Tiger narrative, because coronavirus is synced to the number 201, an event 201 that was held on October 18th, 2019, 56 days before they traced back the first case of coronavirus at the time, right? And in that exercise, event 201, it was about a pandemic of a coronavirus that killed 65 million people. And, of course, we've learned a whole lot more about it, It was coronavirus is 56, and that was 56 days before, and toilet paper 56, and Anthony Fauci 56, and event 201 was held 201 days before the date 5/6, and a whole lot more, right? And it's synced up to the Jesuits, and the current Jesuit Pope is Pope Francis, and his real name equals 201, and the founder of the Jesuits is Ignatius of Loyola, that equals 201, and Francis Xavier equals 201. He's another Jesuit, another founder of the Jesuits, who some people claim Pope Francis actually got his real name after, and so on, right? But Pope Francis, we're told, got his name from St. Francis of Assisi, the guy who received the stigmata and so on, and the Franciscan movement, or the Franciscan, whatever it is, society was founded on 224, 811 years ago. But moral of the story, I'm just bringing up this tiger narrative because tiger equals 201 in gematria, and we kept getting all these tiger stories, like a tiger was the first animal to get coronavirus, and much, much more. And it was right after Tiger King. And we also had the death of Al Colleen, or however you say his name, and he was a Detroit Tiger player. He was known as Mr. Tiger, and so on. So when I saw the story about baseball and whatnot, and you'll see in a second, but it said, Chicago White Sox Tony La Russa announcement uses A.J. Hinch's signature. And A.J. Hinch was the coach of the Houston Astros, that won the World Series in 2017. A.J. Hinch also recently just signed as the manager of the Detroit Tigers. So it was interesting that there was this connection between Tony La Russa and A.J. Hinch, right? And then when you look up Tony La Russa, he's age 76, and the word tiger just so happens to equal 76. And he was also born in Tampa, and if you go back and look at a lot of my stuff, I talked about how Tampa was important to the Tiger narrative, such as how Rob Gronkowski was the white tiger on The Masked Singer, and then Tom Brady had signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the same day that Tiger King came out on and back in March and whatnot. Tiger King, right? And also, this Don Lewis guy, the ex-husband that disappeared of Carol Baskin, he just so happened to disappear in Tampa, Florida. And then they declared him dead in 2002, and then later that year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won their first ever Super Bowl. And this year, the Super Bowl is held in Tampa Bay, and of course, then the Tampa Bay Rays went to the World Series and whatnot, right? So there's a huge Tampa narrative. But notice how AJ Hinch and Tony La Russa's birthdays are 143 days apart. And if you write out Tiger King, it just so happens to equal 143. Also, the guy who went missing is Don Lewis. His real name's Jack Donald Lewis. It equals 143. AJ Hinch's real name, Andrew J. Hinch, equals 143. So what are the odds that him and Tony La Russa's birthdays are 143 days apart? And the story that involved these two guys was 143 days after Carol Baskin's birthday. So now Tony La Russa is going to be the coach, or he is the coach of the Chicago White Sox, and there's something important to Chicago with it, right? Also, think about the White Sox and how the Field of Dreams game got canceled. So there's more to this narrative that's going on. AJ Hinch is from Iowa too, so that's important, right? He's from Iowa. Think about Field of Dreams, the White Sox, Iowa. I just found out today from Bobby that Donald Trump pardoned turkeys named Corn and Cobb, and they're from Iowa as well. And around the same time I was talking about this big Tampa narrative, I was also talking about a Children of the Corn narrative and how it synced up to Iowa and whatnot. So, what's Iowa in gematria? I don't even remember. I mean, I know it's 48, but I was wondering about the Francis Bacon ciphers. I don't know. I don't know how that relates to what I'm talking about here, but there is some interesting things. But I'm almost done. I'm just gonna finish the video here. My kids are screaming and whatever still, but if you go from AJ Hinch's birthday to the day of that story, what did I put in here? I said this wrong earlier, that's why. But the Tampa Bay Rays lost in the World Series 143 days after Carol Baskin's birthday. And this story was 2 days later on October 29th. So, whatever. But still interesting, right? Tampa Bay loses in the World Series 143 days after Carol Baskin's birthday. The day that this story came out was 167 days after AJ Hinch's birthday. And 167 is the 39th prime number. And if you write out Tigers, it equals 39. He's now the coach of the Detroit Tigers. White Sox also equal 39, and Tony La Russa equals 39. So, interesting connections, Chicago White Sox also equals the same as Tampa Bay. It equals 79, just like how Carol Baskin equals 79. And the 22nd prime number is 79. And I'll leave a link to my Tiger King video in the description. It was literally all about the number 22 and 79. The numbers 22 and 79 and how they were related. Such as, like, I think Joe Exotic was arrested on the 22nd day of the year, and it was like 7 months and 9 days before Carol Baskin's birthday, and a whole bunch more. Can't remember it off the top of my head. I have to go look at it again, but it was all about 79, just like Tampa Bay, just like Chicago White Sox. Interesting, Detroit Tigers also equal the same too, 79 and 169. So I know that the story was somehow related to Tiger King. Also, St. Louis equals 167. And this story came just after Pope Francis elected 13 new cardinals, and it was on the day where they took Tampa Bay Buccaneers off primetime, and they put the Arizona Cardinals on there. Think about Cardinals in relation to the Catholic Church. There's some other things I can't remember I was going to write in here, but I didn't. But Tony La Russa is also known, I guess, for coaching the St. Louis Cardinals. So his name's 39, St. Louis equals 167, the 39th prime number. His name also equals 132 like Catholic Church, and A.J. Hinch equals 35, just like the word Catholic. Just like how Tom Brady equals 35. Tom Brady plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. Chicago also equals 35. Joe Exotic was born on 3/5. You know, in the year of the Jesuit coronavirus, we get Tiger King is the biggest thing on Netflix and a whole lot more, so. I also point out the 143rd prime number is 823, which reminds me of Kobe Bryant, right? And Kobe Bryant went to a Catholic church just before he died, and he was buried in Corona del Mar, and the NBA was suspended 201 days after Kobe Bryant's birthday. So it resumed 187 days, a span of 187 days after Kobe Bryant died. Kobe Bryant also equals that 224 number that I've talked about a whole lot. The only other team in Chicago, that I could think of, these major teams, Chicago Bulls equals 164 or 264. And if you watch my previous videos, I've talked a whole lot about these two numbers. So I wonder if there's something important. I don't know if I don't think the Bulls are going to win next season, but there's got to be some narrative I'm supposed to understand with how the Chicago Bulls sync up to this. And we recently had a story about Michael J. Fox retiring, and back in 2015 as well, the same year that Pope Francis came to the United States, we had the France attack and so on. I talked all about the Chicago Bulls and how it was synced up to Valentine's, such as Denzel Valentine hitting the game winner on Valentine's Day, which was the same day that Zach LaVine did the Space Jam dunk and won the slam dunk contest. Right? Think about Space Jam, Michael Jordan. LeBron James is going to be in the new Space Jam. But now Denzel Valentine and Zach LaVine both play for the Chicago Bulls, and Denzel Valentine wears the number 45, and Valentine's is the 45th day of the year, and a whole lot more. I also talked about Derrick Rose, and recently I've talked about a Rose theme, and how it's synced up to the royal family. So, and Zach LaVine was a teen wolf, and there's just a whole lot to re-explain with this. It would take me like another hour to go through it all. Synced up to the Nebraska Cornhuskers and UCLA playing in the Foster Farms Bowl, where Super Bowl 50 was held. So just know I'm just paying attention to this. Michael J. Fox equals 56 like coronavirus. Wolf equals 56. Kevin Garnett equals 56. In 2015, he got traded back to the Minnesota Timberwolves on the 56th day of the year for a guy who has named gematriaeffect.news. So it's just interesting to think about. Society of Jesus 56. Plus Michael J. Fox, there was an article in 2019 where Michael J. Fox got his first tattoo, and he was wearing a surgical mask, right? Just like the world of coronavirus. So it would make a lot of sense if Michael J. Fox would die, or there's something more important going on with Michael J. Fox, but I don't know. I just wrote this, earlier today, so I'll just leave it there. I got a bunch of other stuff I got to go do tonight, so wanted to just finish this up and add some of these pieces in here, but 143 definitely connected to Chicago. There's something with how the Native Americans are related to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry and Elizabeth Warren. I just don't see the full narrative, but anyway, have a good one. Peace.